What? Wow. Like Backstreet, we're back.
We're back.
All right. Oh boy.
No, we don't know the dance.
And we're gone.
No, and we're out.
And we're out.
And just as soon as we enter, we're out. Well, man, it's Monday. It's been a minute, Rob. How you doing, good sir?
I am. I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm hanging in there. Is it still light out where you are? I don't know how far away you are.
No, because
the
it looks
sun's
like we're
in a different spot.
Yeah, that's how sunlight works. It is a bit light out, but it's pretty dark because of the clouds and the rain that have been happening out this way. So
yeah. It's been nothing but rain all day. We got a little bit of hail. I don't know if you guys got that.
Oh no, I got
little ice pellets, and I was like, well, it's getting kind of dicey because that's right around the time I had to pick my daughters.
Okay,
and it's not fun to have all the umbrellas out and have to walk over to get them and stuff like that. So
Did you have no sun?
We had in the morning. It looked promising in the morning. It was nice and sunny, and I'm like, okay, I'll bust out the cars. I'll change the tires and all that kind of stuff. And then it just proceeded to rain for the rest of the day. So
we had it was quite sunny in the morning, and then it got pretty crappy. But around dinner time, I was fortunate enough that it got sunny enough that I was able to vacuum out the pool, and because I haven't done that in like the last 2 weeks because of the rain. So
have you even got to use it? I know you busted it out because we had that hot ass week, right? And then it just proceeded to get super cold and super wet.
Right.
So that kind of sucks, right?
Just like prom night. No, I haven't. You know what? I'd have to crank up the heater probably for a full day just to get it to like over a few hours for sure, but almost a full day, and it's just not worth it. John, I'm deep in the middle of comp season. Well, it's not really me, it's my daughter, and there's a lot of running around. Yeah. So there would, even if it was a blazing hot time right now, there would be no time to jump into a pool.
Yeah. But isn't like you can leave it not heated, and isn't polar plunge like dropping your body into frigid water? Like the hot medical trend right now to maintain your body, right?
Yeah, I put my arm in today because I had to pull the hose up, right, to be able to vacuum it. And we tell you that it's cold, but my arm felt amazing.
Yeah, it's like that's like one of the newest kind of health trends. You do the cold shower, they call it the polar plunge, and they get the bins with the ice and all that kind of stuff for us dudes getting older, guys and gals getting older. That's
help your joints.
Yeah. But anyways, welcome everybody. It's Monday night. It is May 1st. Oh, wow. It's gonna be May.
May the 1st be with you.
Yeah, May the 1st. No, it's the May the 4th. We were a couple days away. We'll see if something Star Wars comes up on that day. But thank you everybody for giving us your Monday. Hopefully you will have some laughs with us, and you're coming to chill with us and talk about Mission Impossible Rogue Nation later in our countdown to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning out in July. Holy crap, we're almost there, Rob.
I know, buddy. I know. When you do it based on the amount of movies, we only have one movie left, and then I know. Who knew? Like when we started this back in January, that we would be this quickly right through. Yeah,
I thought we had lots of time, and it's like we're already here. So thank you everybody who's joining us with that. If you haven't seen it in a while, I think Lewis said he was kind of busy, so he didn't get to watch it. So it's fine. You've seen it before. Everyone's seen it before. We're gonna remind you, and then you can go and watch it after we're done here, and then you got plenty of time to watch the next one, which is what's the next one? Fallout, right?
Fallout. Yep.
Yeah. That's the one.
Guns Malone.
Yeah. The reloading your fists. Henry Cavill with the mustache, the very beautiful mustache. Very jealous of Henry Cavill's mustache in that movie.
Not me.
You should grow, or you should get a fake one at least, just to put on once in a while.
No, I think immediately police services would be issuing errors.
What now? Outside the playground?
Yeah, no, not happening.
He looks kind of shady.
I should do that though for a show once. I should get a fake mustache and.
The fake prosthetics they put on the fake beard and everything like that. It looks really elaborate. But anyways, we're gonna our usual thing. If you guys are joining us for the first time, thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this on the replay, please join the live show every Monday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're listening to this on the audio, iTunes, Spotify, thank you very much. But we're going to get into it. We're going to talk a little bit about what you guys all got up to this weekend. And then we're going to talk a little bit about news, if there is any news happening. And then we're going to dive into Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. So first up, Rob, it's been a minute. We didn't have a show last week. We kind of took a little break.
Right.
I was a little overwhelmed, so I took the day off, and then we got together for the what did we cover? Mandalorian. We covered Mandalorian
and Picard season 3.
Yeah, Mandalorian and Picard season 3. So the battle of the season 3s. And we got the whole crew back together from the Heroes World podcast. Me, Stu, Rob, and Andre joined us, and we talked pretty in depth. I feel like you guys talked a lot more about Picard. So we didn't do this question when we did the podcast, Rob, but Picard season 3 versus Mandalorian season 3. What do you choose? It's kind of an unfair fight because Picard has so much legacy to go with it, but we're talking your time right now in the year 2023. Which season did you kind of like? Which season comes out on top for you?
Yeah, and
you guys in the comments let us know.
I think we tried bringing that up at the end of the show, and then Stu was like, "Well, it's obvious based on the rating scheme," but for me, it has to go to like the most fun, right? Like for me, the most fun, the most enjoyable, and as much as I enjoyed Mandalorian season 3, I'd have to put it with Picard season 3. It just felt a lot more fun than Mando. But I will say that for most of Mando, I was watching week to week after the last couple of episodes. Picard, I blazed through. So I don't know if it's a apples to apples comparison, but yeah, I'd say Picard.
Yeah, no. From our discussion, 100%, it looked like Picard came out on top. Just the amount of passion and the kind of like feels that you got from it. Mandalorian does feel like a lot like a setup. It's like setting up a bunch of big things they're going to come out, and it was wrapping up a bunch of stuff so they could move on from where they kind of left season 2. So you guys, like Lewis said, Picard season 3, way better. I kind of did get this feeling. You would talk to people a little bit Mandalorian in person, and then they would go, but are you watching Picard? So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by this. Fraser he's got the 10 out of 10 for Picard season 3. I know Lewis and Fraser are too hardcore tricky. So if they give it their seal of approval, then I know we got a winner there. So, all right. Rob, what else did you get up to this week? This like 2 weeks, I guess. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Or should I go first? I got less stuff.
Who's saying that? What was that? Who sang that song? It's been a while. It's been a while. Is that Stained? I don't remember. Anyway,
that's all you. It's been. Hey, you know what? I actually might know this one. Frick. It's not The Calling.
No, it was like one of those new metal bands from the 2000s.
Yeah.
I think it's Stained, isn't it? Stained.
Stained with the D. It's not 3 Days Grace or something like that, or who else was one of those big popular bands? If any of you guys know it, Seether, was it Seether? No, yeah, Lewis says skip season 1 and 2, which was the advice that was given to Rob, and he proceeded not to take that. You were already invested though. You were already invested in season 1, so as a completist, you were like, I can't just skip season 2.
Yeah, it's Stained.
Simply, oh, there you go. You're so good, Rob. Obscure song. So you guys can fire that track up after. But Rob, what did you get up to?
Well, yeah, okay. So listen, man, I've watched a lot of stuff, and I've done a lot of things. Here's a quick rundown. Spider-Man Miles Morales came out from the PS4 a couple years ago. Yeah, I finally got around to playing it.
It was a launch title, Rob. It was the PS5 launch title. It was the pack-in game for PS5. Okay. But I know you got your PS5 late, so
I played it. I beat it. I have 7 more trophies to platinum the game, and guess what, John? I don't care. I'm not going to do it.
I've never done it before, so I can't even make fun of you. I never platinumed or what's the Xbox equivalent? Full achievements or whatever.
I have 3. I have 3 platinums. I'm 7 away. I could grind on it. I just don't want to anymore. I'm done. I do have I have Star Wars.
Yes, brand new Star Wars on Friday.
Yeah, so it's loaded up. I haven't played it yet, but I'm looking forward to that. Okay, John, I've also gotten back into since April 1st or so. The weekend, April 3rd. I've gotten back into wrestling.
Yeah.
And so I have blown through all of these biography shows on all the wrestlers that they have out, the rivals. Like I've gone through, I don't know, maybe 30 episodes of these things. So I've been watching a lot of that stuff. Also, John, I watched the Power Rangers movie Once and Always, I think it's called, on Netflix.
I don't know why you watch this.
It is
why?
okay. So this is my thing. If you, I was in my teens, I guess, when that came out, or late teens, right? Because it came out like 94 or 95, I guess. So I would have been, 19. So I was familiar with it. I watched it. I was like, oh, it's like a live action version of Voltron, but just, whatever. So I was watching it, but didn't really care for it. I remember I went to see the first movie in the theaters with a bunch of guys. I don't know why we went, but whatever.
I saw too. I don't remember a lick of it though. Do you remember any of it?
Of the TV show?
Yeah, no, the movie. Do you
remember no, not really.
I don't remember
how well, I saw it like a few years ago, and I was like, wow, the CG's bad, man. But I gotta say, so this new quote unquote movie, it's really an extended episode. It's like 55 minutes. It's like John, I don't like crapping on other people's work and stuff like that and hard effort, but I have a funny feeling not a lot of hard effort and hard work was put into this project. It is not good. I didn't like it. I found it to be. It was the longest 55 minutes of my life. Right? Not a fan at all.
Yeah, so, I know a bunch of hardcore Power Rangers guys, and I asked them about it, and they were just like, meh. And I'm like, okay, I'm not touching this at all.
Yeah.
What a shame. Though.
No, not good at all, John. God, I watched a couple of movies. Oh, I watched the new Scream movie, Scream 6. I watched it this past weekend.
AKA stab you a million times, you don't die.
Yeah, I don't know. It's on Paramount Plus. So for those of you who didn't get a chance to go check it out in theaters, it's on. If you have Paramount Plus in Canada, you can watch it there. I watched it this past weekend with my son. We quite enjoyed it. It was pretty good. For whatever reason, like this, it's so funny that this franchise is still going. I don't understand why, but admittedly, the last couple of movies haven't really been that bad. They've been actually pretty decent. So I'm all in there for the new Scream movie. And I knew I watched a couple of other movies, John. But shit, if I can remember what they are, so it doesn't really matter anyway. I guess they weren't good enough for me to remember. But what about you, my friend? What did you?
Yeah. So I just want to touch on the comments quickly because you mentioned that you did get into the Star Wars game. So I think Fraser and Lewis, is it Fallen Order is the new one, or is that the old one?
No, that's the old one. It's Jedi
okay, so
Survivor is the new one.
So Lewis went backwards. And then looks like Fraser went to the new game.
Yep.
And there was a lot of stuff online that happened. I think the game had a ton of issues on launch day. I chalk it up to just that's what happens when you launch a new game now. And everyone's jumping online. You're going to get some weird stuff going on. Did you experience any of this, Rob, or did you stay away from it?
I haven't played it. I loaded it up. I downloaded it. I loaded it up. So yesterday I finished Miles Morales, and I didn't have time last night because I figured I need a good 2 hours to really. So this coming weekend, it's my hope that I'll find the 2 hours to be able to at least start the game. So that's my goal for this weekend. I have like housework to do, but my legit goal is to start Jedi Survivor on the weekend.
Yeah. The Street Fighter 6 did drop a demo, I think last week sometime.
Yeah.
You only have access to 2 characters, Ryu and one of the newer characters that they released at the very end of 5 called Luke. And I was just like, the game's right on the corner. The game's coming out in June. You're going to give me only 2 characters, 2 of which I don't care about whatsoever right now. So I played it a little bit. It looks fantastic. If anyone's into fighting games, it looks really good. It looks really slick. And I did see that Mortal Kombat is trying to catch up on some of the hype, and they did drop a little teaser.
Yeah,
thanking everybody for being a Mortal Kombat fan. So they got to catch up. Street Fighter 6 is definitely going to take over. So you'll be hearing a lot about that later on because
is that 12? Is that
Mortal Kombat 12, I believe, is my understanding. There, they dropped a little kind of everyone hopped on and was like, thanks for supporting and blah blah blah. And then they showed like a little snippet of, I don't know what it was. It was like sand falling or something falling, and then it explodes into something bigger. But no fatalities, nothing like that. So if anyone's into fighting games, hit me up. But Rob, I caught up on this one show. I don't know if you ever watched it. It's called Snowfall. They just wrapped their final episode or final season this year, and it stars this guy, like the whole Jonathan Majors thing going on. There was this guy, the star of this show's name thrown in, Damon Idris, I think his name is, was thrown in the mix. They're like, who should replace Kang? And then like this guy. But I don't know if you ever watched this show before. It's John Singleton was one of the producers. I don't know how far along it was when he passed, or if he got to be there for the first couple seasons. But it's very, it's like a modern day, or not modern day, but it's another like kind of Wire like show where it talks about this kid growing up, and he gets into the whole crack cocaine scene, and then it also follows a CIA agent who's helping kind of like, there's all this talk like the CIA provides the drugs so they can control the blah 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 whatever, that whole thing with the black ops, and then there's like a Mexican cartel family kind of in the mix and all kinds of stuff. So it was actually pretty good. I watched the first season. It's available on Disney Plus, the Stars whatever extension, or not extension, but the Stars portion. But it's pretty interesting. I know you big reverence for The Wire, right? But it is dated. Like the technology behind it, the film, the sound quality, all that kind of stuff is kind of dated. So I do like to watch newer shows before I go back. I know you're going to say, "Oh, why aren't you just watching The Wire?" But newer shows are just so much like crispier. They sound so much better. And this one has like the music. I think it's going to cross over between when John Singleton was filming Boys in the Hood. I think they tied into the storyline somehow, which is going to be kind of interesting. But it's a pretty cool show. If you haven't seen it, definitely check out a couple episodes. I think I remember trying to start it way back in the day, and it didn't catch me right away. But I tanked through like I think the entire first season. It was pretty cool.
What was the name of that show we started watching with John Barenthal? It was from the creators of The Wire. Do you remember that? It was on HBO.
Yeah. It was the Gun Trace Task Force. It was called We Own the City or something, right?
Yeah, I never finished it, and only because I think it had other things. And now I thought about this the other day. I was like, shit, I never finished that. So now I'm gonna have to go back and probably just restart that series and watch it, because you finished it, right?
Yeah, it's good performances. It's a cool look into that whole thing that went down, because it is based off true life events. John Barenthal was like amazing in it, and there's a lot of other good performers in it, but it doesn't like that's it. That it's the one season, and then that's it. So you kind of get, it's one of those stories that's told out of time. So a lot of flashbacks, and you don't know what's happening when.
Right.
So let's see what else. Citadel on Prime. Fraser mentioned Citadel on Prime. I saw this pop up. This is.
I'm like really stoked to see this show.
Yeah.
But then I found out they're doing week-to-week release, and I was like,
so you're gonna wait?
Yep.
Rob's gonna wait.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah. So
I'll tell you, the only show I'm able to right now watch on a weekly basis is Succession.
Yeah.
And I was just I didn't get to see it last night, so I watched half of it before the show here, and I'll finish it off tonight. But that's generally the only show I'm watching on a week-to-week basis, because it's just like, I've just enraptured with it. Something like Citadel, I feel like I just need to do it on a, like, just binge it. I think I'd really enjoy binging it. So.
Yeah. So Fraser said he liked it a lot, so that's a good recommendation from Fraser. If anyone else is watching it, I did see it pop up, and when I tried to fire it up, something was going on with my internet. And you know when it just starts doing the circle, and you're like, "Why isn't this show loading?" I reset my router and everything, and it still wasn't working. So I will have to go back to it. But yeah. What was the other one you just said? The other show Succession. Yeah, Succession. There's huge heat. Is it still as strong as it was first season?
Yeah. I think even more so right now, because like big things that have happened this season.
Yeah. I know there's
the final one.
A big spoiler if you're not keeping up. So stay off. Don't look around at stuff.
And it's the final season, so I think it's really
okay.
Yeah. So
all right. So
really
check out Succession on Crave. I believe it's on Crave.
In Canada, it is on Crave. I feel like there's a bunch of other things I've watched. The reality is, John, I just watched way too much shit.
Yeah. Love is Blind. You watch Love is Blind?
I did not watch it. Although, you know what? There's that new show on Netflix, The Diplomat. So it just came out. Was it last week? It just got renewed today for season 2. It reminds me of The Night Agent, like that quick turnaround and it getting a quick renewal. So I've actually added it to my list. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see. If you guys watched anything, let us know in the comments. We'll circle around and check it out. But it looks like pretty much everyone checked out the Star Wars game. A couple of people did watch the Power Rangers. Mixed feelings about that. So we'll see what, if anything, comes from that further. But yeah. But anyways, let's kick it over to the shop. We did have the new Magic set come out a couple weeks ago. It's doing really well this week. I don't think we have anything really on the big release schedule. It's actually going to be a tighter week, but the DC Dawn of DC stuff is doing really well. If you're looking to read fun, bright, colorful comic books that are a little bit lighter and a little bit more of the family friendly, definitely check them out. The Green Arrow book just dropped. Green Lantern's right around the corner, and Superman is firing full force. He's got a whole plethora of titles going on. So definitely check it out if you want to do some comic action. It's always fun to jump on the new direction kind of things and just see what's going on. And then we'll see what happens if they get collected in omnibuses and all kinds of fun stuff. And then I will just shout out The Last Ronin, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles book. Rob, I don't know if you checked this out. It's available in hardcover.
Yeah, I got it from hardcover from you. Dumbass.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Did you read it yet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So folks, if you haven't read this yet or you haven't picked it up from us, it is a really, really good book. The art is absolutely solid. The legend goes that this is the original vision that they had for the Ninja Turtles, the original comic series under Mirage Studios ending. So there's only one turtle left. He's kind of finding his way to kind of carry on and carry the legacy of his brothers. And since originally the Turtles became this kind of hit toy kiddie show phenomenon, they couldn't release this. So this is all taking place written around the Frank Miller era during Dark Knight Rises or whatever you want to call it. So it's got that gritty kind of dark comic feel to it. So, and it's doing phenomenally well. It's been consistently selling and it got a bump when they announced that there's a video game coming out. So everyone's been hitting me up for it. I got more coming in. I've got a few copies left. So if you haven't read it or you don't own a copy, hit me up and I'll set you up with that. But let me throw it over to Rob for the news. If there's anything going on, Rob, let us know. You guys in the comments. Hopefully you guys.
Well, it's been a couple of weeks. Yeah, so it's been a couple of weeks, John. I was trying to go back into things that we haven't discussed. And it was mostly just trailers, but let's hit with a couple things that came out today before we hit those trailers. First of all, John, your third favorite Sly Stallone movie of all time.
Yeah.
Is getting a reboot.
Is it Lockup?
It is not Lockup. That's
is it Over the Top?
That is your ultimate favorite. What was your third favorite?
Is it Cliffhanger?
It is Cliffhanger. Cliffhanger.
I would choose Daylight over Cliffhanger any day of the week. If you guys haven't seen Daylight, I feel like it's an underrated gem. But all right, Rob, what do we know about
an underground gem? Yeah. So Stallone is rebooting Cliffhanger with director Rick Romanow, who directed the first Olympus Has Fallen. He's a former stunt coordinator, I believe. At any rate, they've teamed up. It's 30 years now, John, since the first Cliffhanger dropped.
At least gotta be.
Yeah, 1993. So they, no word on when this is coming out, but they're going to be heading back to the Alps. Hopefully, it's the Alps this time, and not like these really fake.
No, you have to 100% go authentic now. You can't green screen guys climbing on a random rock unless you're Mandalorian, right?
Right, but do you remember the original? It was like remember he was walking on these icebergs, but it was just foam ice on water. And
it was like a Nickelodeon game show or something.
It was like being like at a club with like this really bad foam rock work around you. Come on, man. Yeah. The original star John Lithgow. At any rate, let's see what happens. But Cliffhanger, are you down for?
Would this in any shape or form be on your list of things for Sly Stallone to resurrect? Like, why not something like Cobra? At least Cobra, I think, feels like it could have had something if you got more time with it or whatever. But this would be dead last. Maybe, you know what, get Carter right underneath it because I thought that was trash. Why not Demolition Man? There's so many other things that they could have chose in Cliffhanger. Like, I guess it did have a video game. I feel like it was never a good movie in my eyes.
Well, I look at the practicality of it. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to some country, pick any country that's got mountains and my tour guide is I don't care how jacked you are, but if you're like in your late 70s, I don't feel comfortable with that. It's just I'm not overly comfortable with really young kids operating 15-year-olds operating the rides at Wonderland. If I'm there and they're like, "Hello, sir. Okay, don't forget you have to go."
They have been trained. I believe Wonderland has a pretty extensive training program that it encompasses
you've got to be in
being
a
there for a
sweet
while.
spot of like 19 to 24 to be able to have some sense of responsibility on those rides. If you're 16 and like you're still, you know, popping pimples, I'm off that ride. I will not ride it. I do not trust you.
Yeah. Sorry, Steve, you're late to the party. We're talking about the possible or confirmed cliffhanger return. But sorry, Sly. I was extremely not happy with the ending of Tulsa King. So I am not looking forward to this at all. So we'll see what happens. Like anything else. 100%.
Well, if you want
Daylight, go watch Daylight, folks. And you'll be like, oh, I could watch Stallone saving people every episode or a Stallone-like character. But yeah, no.
I want Tango and Cash too.
Oh, okay. Tango and Cash. Tango and Cash TV show might work. What's Kurt Russell doing right now?
Ego the Planet's hanging out somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could still do something.
Let's talk Fantastic Four, John. So a scooper by the name of Daniel RPK today sent out his newsletter or whatever, and he said that Marvel has issued out offers to 3 actors out of the 4 for the Fantastic Four. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to accept it, but the rumor is that the Human Torch has been offered to Paul Mescal. Sue Storm has been offered to Margot Robbie.
Sure.
And Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic himself, Adam Driver.
Okay.
Again,
I remember seeing the Adam Driver thing floating around.
Yeah.
And then there was, I don't know if it was a joke thing or not, but Mila Kunis as Thing. I saw something like that floating around. I don't know what type of joke that was, but I don't know. I could care less about Fantastic Four casting right now. I am thankful it's not John Krasinski, whatever, the Office
John
guy,
Krasinski.
Jim from The Office.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't work for me. It never has worked for me. He's a cool dude. He was really good in 13 Hours in Benghazi or whatever the hell it was called.
Yep.
As a badass, and he's really cool in Jack Ryan. But I don't know, like, sure, give it a whirl. Who would you cast as Thing? I was thinking maybe Alan Richardson or something, some gigantic dude.
I have no idea. I mean, listen, it's the voice. So at this point, it could be Seth Rogen. I mean, who knows? It's clobbering time.
I guess you know what? He just has to have good. Whoever they cast has to have good chemistry with the other people, and especially the Human Torch character, right? Because say what we might about the old Fantastic Four run, which I think we did kind of explore in this podcast a couple times, or the Heroes World podcast. Michael Chiklis and Evans actually worked pretty good together. Yeah. They were actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
And that was probably like one of the most salvageable parts of the movie.
Right.
So yeah. Fraser's already talking about Kylo Ren as Mr. Fantastic. No thanks. Mr. Not So Fantastic, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest with you, I feel like they need to go like with like newbies almost, you know, like, or unknowns or people who have just got only a few credits to the name. I just feel like you're just distracted by seeing Harley Quinn up there as Sue Storm. You know, like I don't.
Yeah, especially someone who's played iconic superhero like Kylo Ren is a pretty big deal. Like Fraser mentioned it. I think people are gonna have a hard time getting over the fact that he's Kylo Ren. So yeah, why not get someone new? I guess why not go younger? But maybe they think younger is not the way to go. They go with a more seasoned looking Fantastic Four.
If he cuts his hair though, people aren't going to think Kylo Ren. I think as long as he's got like short.
Yeah. If he's long haired Reed Richards, then I think we've got a problem, right?
Right.
But if he's cropped hair, you think he's got to have the gray in there, or the gray or the white in there?
No, they'll do him dirty. It'll be like at the end of the movie, just like it did with Rogue in the first X-Men, when she's holding on to the thing, and all of a sudden her hair changes color. It has that the gray streak. That's what's going to happen to Adam Driver. Okay, I want to quickly move on to Blade.
Michelle's absolutely right, though. That last Fantastic Four movie did not work out at all. So they went one way. So maybe they go the other way. How about we go even older, Rob? Who would you cast as an even older Fantastic Four?
Jack
Nicholson?
No,
Thing?
No, Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, and then like Helen Mirren as Sue Richards.
Oh,
And
Oh
Johnny
my God.
Depp as
Oh
Storm.
man, Johnny Depp as Human Torch would be
Yeah.
fantastic.
And then Joe Pesci is the Thing.
Oh man, yeah. Lewis says he did watch the F4 film or Fan4tastic. We made fun of it so many times during our worst movies talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not missing anything, Lewis. Don't bother.
Okay, so this
Sorry,
often troubled movie has been going through rewrites, delays, and whatnot. And we're talking about Blade. So this is supposed to start filming, John, at the end of this month.
Yeah.
And they're just bringing in a new writer. Now, supposedly this writer has actually been on the project for the last couple of months, but it was just announced on Thursday last week, and that is Nick Pizzolatto. Now, if you recognize that name, you're not sure from where. He is the writer of True Detective, the series on HBO.
First one? Or all of them?
No, I think he did all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, the first 3 seasons at least. He's not involved with the new one coming out. So he obviously has some experience working with Mahershala Ali, who was in season 3 of True Detective.
Oh, yeah, season 2 was Taylor Kitsch and all those guys, right?
Yeah, it was Colin Farrell and Rachel McAdams stuff. Yeah,
Rachel McAdams. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Listen, I'm a big fan of. I love the first season of True Detective. Like, I love it, like, beyond belief. As an aside, the new trailer for True Detective with Jodie Foster, it looked like it may tie into something from season 1, which has got me just going crazy. But I digress. So we'll see what happens with Blade coming out. Again, they're supposed to start production at the end of this month, and also the rumor is that Dale Whitman is no longer going to be part of it. So Dane Whitman, sorry. So no more Black Knight. Okay, and then quickly, while we were away, we had some trailers drop, John. You can just give me a thumbs up on these ones. The most anticipated for you is White Man Can't Jump, which is hitting
your boy Jack Harlow, who dropped a super secret album. I don't know if it's on your playlist yet, Rob.
No, it's not.
But sure. I don't know who asked for this reboot. I don't know if it's necessary, but sure. White Man Can't Jump. Is it still?
It's hitting Disney Plus, I think, like in the next week or two. Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Did you happen to see that one?
Yeah. I'm hyped for this Transformers. I'm down. I'm a sucker for it. I fell for all the previous ones last night, in particular, really terrible. But Bumblebee was great.
Yeah.
So I do look forward to this. I hope it's along the lines of Bumblebee. And I'm just looking forward to some fun.
Anthony Mackie is in a series on Peacock. No word yet on where it will stream in Canada, but that's Twisted Metal, based on that PS1 game. Thoughts? Did you see the teaser?
I watched the teaser. There's not much to it, other than they kind of looks like they show the setting. They show a little bit of the car that he's in and stuff like that. I used to play, Rob. Me and my buddies used to play Twisted Metal. I think it was Twisted Metal 2. Because it had like a versus mode. We used to play it every day after school. And we knew all you could shoot fireballs and you could hop, and you knew all the secret areas that you could hide in the levels, and we would pick all the different characters and cars and just have fun. So I'm down, but I feel like it's not going to be good. Like, it has all the recipe for disaster. But I'll sit with my fingers crossed and hope it's like a fun. Remember the first Death Race movie with Jason Statham? Not the first one, but the remake. But the Jason Statham one was it was fun, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it was all right.
It's a fun movie, so if they do something like that, sure, let's have some fun with it. I'm always down for something with cars.
Yeah,
Sweet Tooth. I think he's a wrestler, right? The guy who's going to play Sweet Tooth.
Yeah, it's Samoa Joe. He was I thought they were talking about like Sweet Tooth, the Jeff Lemire season 2, which is on Netflix right now, by the way. Okay, and then on April, so last weekend, John, was CinemaCon, and where a lot of theaters or movie studios were out there touting all of their stuff coming up. We saw there was a lot of discussion on trailers that were shown at CinemaCon that we haven't seen as of yet. Some of them have been trickling out. We're all waiting with anticipation for Dune Part 2.
Yes.
But by far the biggest movie that got the most hype, buzz, And then a trailer that dropped on the afternoon of April 25th was Warner Brothers' The Flash. John?
I was like, oh man, how many times did Rob watch this trailer? Like, if I could check your internet history and sort through all the other questionable material.
There's been a lot of questionable material.
How many times have you watched this? When I watched the trailer, so spoilers if you guys haven't seen the trailer yet, and Michael Keaton says my all-time favorite line from Batman 89, which is the "You want to get nuts?
Yeah,
let's get nuts" line. Like, that is my favorite line in that movie. When he says that, I'm like, oh my god, this has got to be the best thing ever for Rob. And I think the internet is on board with you, man. Everyone's like, I think this Return of Keaton's Batman is the best version of Batman that DC's done. Like, it's gonna top what Bale is gonna top Affleck. Is it gonna top Pattinson? Rob, how do you feel about your boy Michael Keaton returning as Batman?
I'm excited. I like the look of the trailer. There's a couple CG shots, especially that one where Barry Allen is like, being stretched out and he's looking up. It looks like his head is off. Like, it just looks weird. But there was an interesting is a line in there from Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne where he talks about scars, that you can't go back and erase the scars of our life or whatever, because it makes us who we are. It was something to that effect. It was a it was a well-delivered line in the trailer. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays in context in the movie. But the hype on this movie, I know I've been saying this for months. You've been like making fun of me. They showed an unfinished version of the movie at CinemaCon, and they left out the end credits stuff. And people were coming out going like they were blown away by this movie. So you're seeing stuff online, you're seeing those immediate reactions. I mean, the fact that they showed a close to finished version 3 months out, it's June 16th it drops.
Yeah.
This is 2 months out. Does it get you a little bit more excited for this movie?
The trailers all look really good. Everything's looking really solid. But as Michelle and Steve have mentioned here, what if the Keaton Batman content is so minimal, Rob, and this trailer is overselling it? Do you think that's a possibility, that maybe he's in there for like 15 minutes? And this trailer just makes it look like he's there for the whole. The trailer makes it look like he's there for at least half or more of the movie, right?
And I think it is that way. I think he is there for a fair. Listen, all their if you are watching all the marketing for the toy line, it's almost like a Batman and Flash movie, right? Like you wouldn't know.
Michelle made the joke. The Batman, you mean the new Batman movie? Yeah. It basically looks like a Batman movie. I'm ordering the action figures from McFarlane, and it has a Batman in it, but I don't think it's the Keaton Batman. I think it looks like the Affleck Batman. But you have the Bat Cycle, you have the Bat Plane, and you have the Batmobile, all in this line of toys. And I think there's a couple flashes. So, but yeah, if you're gonna bet, you always bet on Batman, I guess. So we'll see how it goes. Rob, I hope for your sake and everyone else's sake and Disney's sake, that it does
Warner
up to this hype
for Warner and DC. So I plan on going at minimum 2 times opening weekend. I might grab tickets for 3 days. We'll see. But I will say this, John. My son and I, we have watched for the last 9 years. We watched the Flash TV series on a weekly basis, and this season we are struggling to get through. He and I were just hanging out together this weekend because the girls were away for a dance comp. We watched 2 or 3 episodes. We were both on our phones the entire time it was on because the show is so bad. But they have a character, John, who does use a lot of Michael Keaton's 1989 verses in the show. Okay. And his character did you want to get nuts? Let's get. And I was like, it was just like, it was cringeworthy. And I was like, oh my God, I hate this. I hate this with the passion of like the intensity of 1,000 suns. I couldn't stand it. I can't wait for this show to be over. I can't wait I have to finish it. I think there's like 5 episodes left for us to go through. Yeah. But I wish they just canceled this stupid show like 5 seasons ago. Anyways.
Okay. Are you guys alone in the sentiment though? Or have you looked online? Is like the general sentiment, like everyone just hates it and just wants it to wrap? Or is there a pocket of CW fans that are just like, oh, I can't believe the
I
show's
don't
ending.
know.
I'm so
I think
sad.
people were pretty hyped to see Stephen Amell back as Oliver Queen in the last week's episode.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't see any positivity. I don't see anything about it. To be very honest with you, I don't see any buzz or anything online. So I'm assuming people are just like, whatever, I'm done. I have no clue.
Yeah. So clearly the show, I guess, has overstayed its welcome. But it tends to be the trend with a lot of these network shows, right? They beat the horse until it's dead, right?
Yeah.
They keep going to the show inevitably just ceases to be able to be profitable. And then they might bring it back later on with a new variation of CSI or Criminal Minds or whatever the hell they're doing. So we'll see. The long lost Legends of Tomorrow or something, like they'll bring it back in a couple of years.
I'm done.
So yeah,
right.
Unfortunately, yeah. Look forward to you wrapping that up and never having to watch The Flash ever again.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna go at least 2 times to see Flash opening weekend, maybe 3.
Oh man, yeah. On a side note, I see a lot of love for Lois and Clark.
Yes, and I haven't caught up at all this season yet. Yes.
Oh man, Flash NCIS. I feel like that show would actually work.
Yeah, probably.
That show would be more entertaining. We talk about it a little bit in our Mandalorian review when they did the whole good cop, bad cop Mandalorian episode. They could have a formula where they can use these characters and put them in a network TV show formula and perhaps produce content that doesn't make you want to vomit, right, Rob? So we'll see what happens with Flash. So I look forward to that finale and you going, why the hell did I do this? Why am I completist? Why did I have to?
Because I'm
see, this is my Lewis says he hasn't watched Lois and Clark because Crave doesn't stream it. That's my biggest problem with this show right now. I don't know how to stream it because I don't have cable TV. So we'll see.
Yeah, so I watch it on demand on their CTV Sci-Fi, but yeah. I hear you.
Any more trailers you want to
talk about? No, let's get the hell out. We got a good movie to talk about tonight.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, let's talk. We're going to talk, folks. If you guys have not seen Mission Impossible Rogue Nation in a minute, we're going to talk about it. So please stick with us, even if you haven't rewatched it. If you have rewatched it, what a fun ride. But I'm sure Rob has some shape or form of breakdown for this movie.
I do.
As he always does. So sit back, relax. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is Rob giving us the lowdown on Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
All right. Here we go, boys and girls and kids of all ages. The 5th movie in this franchise, Rogue Nation, was released in theaters on July 31st, 2015, 4 years after Ghost Protocol. Now, we don't need to remind you that Tom Cruise returns as super spy Ethan Hunt, although I guess I just did that. But also returning to the series is Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames, and Jeremy Renner. Along for the ride this time is Rebecca Ferguson, Alec Baldwin, and British bad guy Sean Harris. Entering the director's chair this time is Christopher McQuarrie, who has a long list of credits to his name as a writer, including one of my favorite movies before Kevin Spacey messed it all up, and that is The Usual Suspects, The Way of the Gun, Edge of Tomorrow, Top Gun Maverick, and the last 3 Mission Impossible movies. But John and I know his phenomenal directing work from Jack Reacher, also starring Tom Cruise. Now, McQuarrie has a history of working with Cruise. We have 8 movies thus far, and 2 more are coming. That'll be 10 movies he'll have worked on with Tom Cruise, John. So it's quite obvious. These guys have a chemistry that you could just see it on screen, right? Like there's whether like his friends, we like to call him McHugh, as McHugh and Cruise, whether he's writing or in the directing, they just seem to sync really well together. Of course, no Mission Impossible movie is without a great Cruise stunt. In Rogue Nation, we see Ethan Hunt hanging on the side of a military Airbus as it ascends into the sky. Now, Cruise was suspended in air upwards of 5,000 feet, John, and they performed this stunt 8 times before they had what they felt was the perfect shot. With a budget of $150 million, the movie brought in $682 million at the box office worldwide. Now, it opened to $55 million on its first weekend, which was the second highest gross for this franchise at the time, but it failed to actually outperform its predecessor, Ghost Protocol, when all was said and done. And as a reminder, Ghost Protocol brought in $695 million. So it was off the mark by about $13 million or so, which, I don't know, when you're talking $600 million, is it really, is $13 million a big deal? I don't know.
Upon its
It's a
release,
big deal. I'll take that loss of 13.
yeah, give me that.
If you want to slide that over, we're down.
Upon its release, the movie was well received by critics and currently sits at 94% fresh rating and 87% with audiences, which begs the question, what's wrong with you guys? So, John, here we are, buddy. 5 movies into this franchise. Is this a winner or a rogue to nowhere?
Rogue to nowhere. Rob always comes up with his clever shit at the end of all summaries. I shut you out, Rob. I can't make fun of you for it. Although I might make fun of you a little bit on that one. Anyway,
it's a pun on a road to nowhere.
That was a stretch, dude. That was a stretch. That's stretchier than Mr. Fantastic. Anyways, folks, yeah, Rogue Nation. Oh man, this movie. I think so. We talked about. Michelle asked if this is the one with Superman in it. No, that's next month. So June, we're going to be doing Fallout, which has Henry Cavill in it as the gun punch reloading monster mustachio master.
Right.
But this is Rogue Nation. So Rebecca Ferguson and Tom Cruise. She steals the show. But Tom Cruise, I think I mentioned it during Ghost Protocol. That was the movie that kind of put Tom Cruise into my like top 5. And this movie is really where he jumps up, and I start debating to myself, do I like Tom Cruise better than Arnold Schwarzenegger now? Is he higher than Jean-Claude Van Damme on my list? Because the stuff he does in this movie is insane. It's a really well done movie. So many action set pieces. They open with the crazy stunt, right?
Yeah, that was
the crazy
a cool
stunt
open.
hanging from the airplane. I think he does do the holding your breath underwater scene. I think he did do a lot of that too. So it's like back to back to back to back to back with all these crazy stunts. And I really I complained about Cruise in the first Mission Impossible. I didn't like him in there. He seemed like kind of a dick. The second one, I don't know what the F is going on in the second one.
John Woo screwed up that movie.
Yeah. And then 3, he's starting to get there. I don't like the idea of Ethan Hunt walking away. And this is the one where Ethan Hunt is like, I'm going to save the world no matter what happens, no matter what goes down. There's a scene in the movie where they're like, hey, Ethan, you can run away with me. We don't have to do this. You've given enough of yourself up. And he's just like, where's the bad guy? I got to catch him. And just everybody comes together. We get Ving Rhames and Jeremy Renner and this new character, Rebecca Ferguson's character.
And Simon Pegg.
And Simon Pegg all back. And it is fantastic to see this team going at it together. Like it's a really enjoyment to watch this again. I thought maybe for some reason I liked Ghost Protocol better. But this 100% is going to end up at the top of the list. We'll talk later about our ranks, but Tom Cruise, I'm just gonna go back to him quickly. He gets to play, he gets to be vulnerable, he gets to be the action hero, he gets to be the badass. He actually gets to be kind of like a mean son of a bee too, as well. Like the whole ending where he like locks him in the box. He's really proud of this moment, and this is a really like kind of like it's a crazy thing to do to this guy, and I feel like it's kind of unnecessary, but he does it just to F with this guy, right? So I really like the range that this hero gets to be. He gets to get his ass kicked, he gets to get bested, and then he kind of seems to always manage to come out on top. I like the whole idea that he's the gambler. But Rob, how are you feeling about this? I know this isn't the first time we've used the female character in the way of I think James Bond did it in the Aston Martin, right? Like does this beat any of your Bond movies?
Well, because it's really funny you bring this up. So, I when I watch these movies, John, since we've been doing these rewatch, I often think to myself, why do I not go back to these movies as often as I do to James Bond movies? And I think it's just because Bond has 25 movies. I've just kind of grown up watching them. But like I'm watching these, especially like 3, 4, and 5. Like I'm like, these are great. Like they're progressively getting better. And I really, really like this movie. And I thought to myself, like, to be honest with you, John, I feel like watching this again this week, and I just might. Yeah. And I couldn't kind of put my finger on why I haven't gone back to it. But then I'm like, there's something about this that seems really familiar. I've always kind of felt that these movies felt familiar, but I didn't know what it was. And I thought they were just knocking off like these spy movies. I was listening to a James Bond podcast a couple weeks ago, and it's an old podcast, and one of the guys was like, Mission Impossible movies of late. So this might be around the time of Fallout, but he said they're doing like old school James Bond movies better than what these current Daniel Craig movies are. right? So this would have been before, like around the time of Spectre, right?
Yeah,
and it's really true. Like I was like, holy shit! It was kind of like a veil like was lifted from my eyes, and I was like if you take a couple of those Sean Connery movies, maybe the early Roger Moore ones. I know like if you take those and put them into today's audience, like movies, like filmed like at the same time, like there's a distinct genetic line between these. Like you're like, oh yeah, these were like modern day Roger Moore, Sean Connery Bond movies. Do you know what I'm saying? And so that's probably so. Yeah, in that context, I felt like it breathed a whole new life for me watching these movies, especially that cold open. Like that's a typical Bond movie. There's always some mission
he's like in the middle or like at the end of another adventure. So you're catching the end of whatever his previous big deal mission was. Right?
Yeah, and I'm talking about pre-Daniel Craig, because aside from Casino Royale, most of those don't really have a cold open, right? That's not tied into the rest of the movie. So like just like this one, and he's running and jumping on the plane, it's not tied into anything else in this movie. It was just a cool stunt, and you can go back to any number of the Pierce Brosnan movies or Roger Moore or whatever. They all had that cold open with this crazy action scene that has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. So, but for me, by and large, obviously, I'm basing it on these 5 movies, not including Fallout. I love this movie, and this is for me number 1, for sure.
Yeah. I don't want to compare him to your boy Bond, but I did quite enjoy that original Casino Royale. So I think this is closest to me to capturing that same feeling, and I feel like they didn't quite do that for the rest of the Bond movies. To that standard, but it's a different animal. Like this, it's just back to back action. Whereas Bond, you get like Spectre. Was it Spectre that I really liked? No, or Spyfall?
It's called Skyfall, not Spyfall.
Skyfall. It's not Spyfall. Whatever. There was one of those Bond movies that I did quite like. But anyways, we'll toss that aside right now. But yeah, like it's just good. You guys in the comments, let us know what you thought. Like Rogue One, like your action scenes. You have so many to choose from. I don't know if you have a favorite, but what about cast, Rob? Like I mentioned a little bit, like just seeing the whole team together, and Ferguson as this kind of like agent who's kind of stuck in this position of like betraying Ethan Hunt every chance she gets, but she still kind of manages to win him over, or he understands why she's doing it. Is really cool. How about the bad guy? What do you think about Lane? What's the name? Something Lane?
It starts with an S. Solomon Lane.
Solomon Lane, yeah.
Yeah, so this is Sean Harris, and he's one of those like character actors you kind of see him as. He's very British, and you see him like if you watch The Green Knight, he was the king and all that. So, so this is the thing. So like for me, I remember saying this to you when we did Mission Impossible 3, that I felt like it upped the action and it started to create what was coming after it. But Philip Seymour Hoffman played one hell of a fantastic bad guy, right? Like he makes that movie. And I don't know if we would have the same reverence for that movie if it wasn't with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
And then you get like number 4, this bad guy that we just saw last month.
Yeah, he's kind of disposable. He's just a bad guy for bad guys.
Yeah, he's like, okay, whatever. But this guy was creepy AF, right? Like he was creepy.
There's one scene where he puts his hand on like on
Rebecca's face.
Yeah, on her face, and you're just like, what the hell is going? Like this is the creepiest thing ever.
Yeah, or even when he was holding the girl hostage, like at the beginning of the movie.
Oh
right?
That's a vicious scene. I was like,
and
are they just looking kill this young lady?
And he's got this crazy profile, right, where his chin goes in, like he's just looking at like dastardly. Like a psychotic. You're just like, wow, like this guy has gravitas, and so this this villain reminded me of just like, somebody who was like, listen, he survives. This is the only villain that has survived, and we know now, obviously, hindsight being what it is, we know that he comes back in number 6 in Fallout, but. Yeah, it was like great. He helped elevate this movie to a different level that the other Mission Impossibles just had never gotten to, except for maybe Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, no, he's definitely like, it's always cool to have the bad guy who thinks he's the good, like he's trying to do what he thinks is the good thing. So he's not just trying to be, like evil for the sake of being evil. Like, I want to rule the world, and like killing henchmen left, right, and center. And you're just like, why would you follow this guy? It's ridiculous. So he does a really good job selling that. And I remember when I listened to a podcast with Macquarie, that he was only originally on for this movie and the next movie, right? And then he was supposed to be done. And then they somehow managed, Tom Cruise or whoever finagled him into doing more. And I was just like, oh my God, thank God. This team is amazing. And I think that guy who plays Lane was like, he was like, you're supposed to kill me in the first movie. And then he doesn't kill him and he keeps bringing him back. So that guy's like, oh my God. Like, because I guess he just wanted to get money for the job and leave. But it's great that he comes back. He's a great villain. And just even the ending, we don't even get a fisticuffs ending, right? We don't get him and Cruise slugging it out. They managed to make the ending of him basically pulling a magic trick on this guy, locking him in a box, and we're fine. We're perfectly happy with this ending. Right?
So, How hard do you think he hurt himself when Tom Cruise tips the container over?
I don't know. It depends on if he's anticipating that this move is coming, but I feel like he's already out and he's already at the bottom, so it doesn't hurt as much. If he did it when he was like, he's at the front and he's like banging on the glass, if he just all of a sudden went whoop and he falls all the way to the back, then that hurts, right? But yeah, no, it's just a satisfying from beginning to end this particular movie. One of my favorite scenes.
Of Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, Alec Baldwin gets to kind of pop in there for a little bit, and then we'll see his fate later. I don't know if what his status is.
Don't you find him riveting though?
He's great. He's
like the way he speaks, his cadence, like everything about him. He could either be like a really good guy or a bad guy. He uses the same voice for both, and it throws you off. Right, like
you kind of don't know where he's at, right? You don't know if he's on their side, if he's not on their side, and then it turns out, he's on the team, right? And then he does show up in the next movie, and I think he's pretty good in the next movie. So sorry, I was gonna say
Benji was hilarious.
Oh man, Simon Pegg is great when he shows up after Tom Cruise like dies and has to be revived. He's like, "Woo, that was pretty tough." He's like, "Oh my God, what happened here?" Right?
Yeah,
and then he gets held hostage. Yeah,
but like even in this movie, there was a lot of like funny moments, and this is where it's like if you were to go back and watch like a Roger Moore Bond, like there's a lot of funny moments in this where Cruise does and says things that he hasn't done in the previous Mission Impossible movies, like when he comes back to life or whatever. And he's like, Benji, hey, when did you get here? Like it was just, and it was like some other funny moments like in the movie. And you're like, when Benji's like, when they're talking about the plan about having to dive down and hold your breath, he goes, it's not that hard. Like that. It was like, what are you talking about? Like there's just like some moments of levity that you haven't seen in this series prior to this movie. And I thought
Ving Rhames, really, I think, tried to do it a little bit, and I think starting from 3, Ving Rhames was kind of trying to do that, and then they let Pegg really like cut loose.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he has a natural chemistry with Cruise, and maybe it's just that they're good friends, or whatever. But yeah. So, but my favorite scene is like one of the favorite scenes I have is they're losing and they're trying to figure out what's going on, and they're all like, Ethan, do you want to just get this guy because he's bested you like every chance or whatever? And then he just looks up. He's like, what? He's like, this is what you guys think? No, I'm trying to like, he's like, he just kind of like, what the hell? And I feel like that you don't see that a lot when you have these heroic type characters. Everyone usually just assumes that they're doing the Captain America thing to save the day or whatever, right? They actually kind of question Ethan a little bit, right? So it's really cool. Rob, you always kind of pick up this, hat forward, hat backwards, all this kind of stuff. Did watching the whole BMW chase scene in the city and whatever, did you notice anything at all?
The car miraculously repaired itself?
No, not even that. I'm fine with cars repairing themselves. They've got sponsors and they want these cars to look pristine. But at one point, the entire structure of the car changes. So this is a BMW. I think it's an X4 or something like that. It's got these big, probably 18 to 22 inch rims. And when it starts flying down the stairs, it switches to a completely stock BMW with the really kind of base model wheels on it. And it bugs me to this day. It bugs me to this day, Rob.
That bugs you?
Yeah, because you notice it. As a car guy, you notice it. It's bouncing down, and I'm like, this BMW's got completely different wheels as it just had. I was just wondering if you had any inkling that something like that went down.
Dude, I'm not a car guy whatsoever. Here's what bugs me. That motorcycle, when he wipes his motorcycle out, like, first of all, he, at that speed, he should have been dead. You know, at worst, you know, okay, not death, broken bones. At minimum, road rash, nothing.
he would have no skin. But this is the respect I have for Tom Cruise. Like, you notice, I don't know if I've taught you this in movies already, Rob, but anytime someone puts on a helmet and puts down the visor, 100% not them. They've got a stunt rider, whatever. Tom Cruise, no helmet at all. He is leaning that bike into the floor. That's why bike guys respect Tom Cruise so much. He is 100% doing all those things on that bike, which is hella dangerous. Cruise, I'm a little bit worried about you, so you got to calm it down. But it looks hella sick that you can get those shots.
At his age, like I wouldn't be able to. No. Like we're at a point, John, we're getting to a point in our lives where like skating in public starts to become dangerous if you break your hip, right? No. Like this guy's like,
there's this joke, this comedian, I forgot what his name is. I'll try and link it at one point, but he's a comedian and he puts a chair on stage and then he's like, this is the difference between when you're over like 30 something versus under. He's like, he stands up on the chair and he's like, okay, you young guys are like, yeah, just jump down. And he's like, you older guys, and everyone older is like, whoa, be careful. You want to get down, you know, you want to slowly put one leg down at a time. But yeah, it's like, Cruise, you got to chill out. Like, you will see real bikers walking around with those knee sliders on, and they will be completely clean because that stuff is dangerous to lean your bike that far down. And Tom Cruise, at one point, he leans down and skins his knees like, right, as part of the comedic relief. But that's a great scene. But yeah, I don't know. There's too many good scenes. Do you have a favorite scene, Rob, before we move on?
Favorite scene. Well, you know what? I actually really like here's why I like this scene. It's probably like the most minimal scene.
Yeah.
But the scene where Benji is they're going through the plan of him breaking into the facility.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how he has to, he goes, I can finally get to wear a mask. Right. So you see the mask being printed and you see Benji sitting in front of the mirror and Rebecca's back is to the mirror and she's facing Benji. So you see, and then you see Tom Cruise carry the mask, but you only see Cruise from here up. Right. And from here down, you don't see upwards. And he you know, puts the mask on the guy and he's massaging it. And then the reflection of the mirror, you see the back of Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah.
You see the guy now who Benji's trying, and then you see Tom Cruise massaging the back of his head. And you're like, wow, that's a wicked trick. But then you realize there's no mirror, right? They're using stunt doubles on the opposite sides to do it. And you're like, I know it seems like ridiculous, but like today's day and age, that would all be CGI and everything, trickery of the camera, but there's just no mirror. It's just other actors, you know, out of the frame. So that way it looks like you're looking at a mirrored version and it's not. And for me, I just love that. I geeked out of that. I was like, oh my God, it's like old cool, but like it works so well, right?
Yeah, you could tell. Like, I don't think I've heard anything like that done except for, remember that scene that was cut from Terminator 2, where Sarah Connor's taking the chip out of Arnold's head?
Yeah.
And there's a mirror, and apparently, what's her name? Linda Hamilton has a twin sister.
Yes.
And they're like, but if you look closely, they look slightly different.
Yeah.
But I don't think that scene's in the movie. But yeah, that's great gag. That's why this movie is so exciting that you kind of are like, okay, the action parts are the norm, and you're looking for the little things that you're just enjoying in it. I think Tom Cruise's drawing skills already. Or Ethan Hunt's drawing skills always on point. Who's this guy?
Yeah, I know, right?
He draws it. I think he had paper this time. I think last movie he drew it on his hand, and he's like, "Who's this guy?"
Here's a question for you: how long does your phone battery last? Wondering if you were to be live streaming using your camera from Cuba to say, I don't know, Paris. How long?
No, it's done. My phone's like done at like halfway through the day. I got to charge this damn thing. So good luck to that. And then there's a point in the end where like Tom Cruise or Ethan Hunt is like, I've memorized the entire list, and I'm like,
right.
I think he've established that this character could probably do this.
Yeah.
And you kind of believe him. I don't know if you think he can do it or not. But I think that's the most
he pulled out that one bank account off the top of his head. Yeah.
So he's like, I think he to prove it, but I believe that character can do that because that's the type of character that they sold him as. But okay, so thank you everybody. We're done talking about, I guess, Rogue Nation. Rob, how hype are you for the next one? And does it feel like after you finished watching this, did it feel like there should be a second piece to this? I don't remember ever thinking.
Yeah, it's called Fallout.
But I mean, it ends like everything is kind of done. They caught the bad guy. Yep. He's been taken away. She gets to move along and go along her way. And the IMF is like reinstated.
Right.
So it's not, there's no cliffhanger per se. There's no stay tuned for part 2 or whatever. So I think back in the day, I would not have followed the press or anything. So I wouldn't have known the next movie is going to be another team up of this director and these performers. So yeah, I think that's kind of cool.
And that's the thing is like, I don't remember when I was watching it, when it first came out, whether or not I felt like it was setting something up.
Yeah.
But because we've seen Fallout since, and we know Dead Reckoning is coming, this movie, it feels like it started to set up a few things. And so today I watched the trailer. Once I finished the movie, I watched the trailer for Fallout. And it feels like a natural progression to the next one. Like it just feels really like organically, like it's right here. Here we go, right into the next one. It's meant to be going together, and so I'm pretty stoked for that. Yeah, and so it makes me even more hype for Dead Reckoning, which I'm surprised we haven't gotten an updated trailer as of yet.
They don't need to. You're going to see this.
But you know,
Maverick smashed in theaters, right? And this is Cruise doing his thing. Everything we've seen already looks fantastic. And all the previous Mission Impossible movies, they changed directors, I think, every movie, right? And then I guess this team up was so good, they're like, this is it. We're gonna close the show with this team up. So I don't know. I'm pretty hyped for it. I think Fallout is probably the one that I've rewatched the most.
Okay.
Out of all of them, but I don't know if I would consider this worse or better than Fallout. So quickly before we wrap up, Rob, I think what would you rank this? I think we already know.
Yeah.
This,
so
this goes to the top.
Yeah. So for me, it goes 5, 4, 3, 1, 2.
Yeah, I think mine is the exact same, but I reversed the 1 and the 2 just because 2's got that nostalgic factor. But if I had a choice, I would strike 1 and 2 off the list completely.
Right.
Because I don't think you don't need to. I don't know. Maybe there's some little tidbits about Ethan Hunt that you want to know. But I almost want to strike them off the record and just say, watch from 3 onwards. That's all.
Well, if rumors are true, John, I think we will have been happy we saw 1 and 2 as we head into Dead Reckoning. So
we'll see how many people sneak attack return.
We do know that the director from the first movie is back. Henry Cerny is back in Dead Reckoning Part 1. So
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right, folks. So thank you. So our next Mission Impossible dive will be first week of June. Hi, sweetie. That's my little baby here. But let's go, Rob. What do we have on the docket for next week? If people are staying tuned in, I think we've already had some people ask and suggest.
Well, so you know what? We talked about this great pairing of Cruise and McQuarrie, and we're like, okay, well, we've already done the Top Gun Maverick. We were doing, obviously the next Fallout. What if we go back and John was like, let's do the Mummy, and I said no.
I didn't mind the Mummy when I saw it in theaters, but I'm such a Tom Cruise fan.
That,
I guess
so we're gonna go back.
Whatever.
We're gonna go back to just a few years ago, John, with a movie that has 3 different titles.
Yeah,
I believe though it's officially titled The Edge of Tomorrow. We call it All You Need Is Kill. You can call it Live, Die, Repeat. But Edge of Tomorrow is on Netflix, starring Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, and directed by Christopher McQuarrie. Wait, did he direct it or did he write it? I think he wrote it. Sorry. Doug Liman directed it. So written by Christopher McQuarrie, directed by Doug Liman. So it is on Netflix. You can check that out and then join John and I as we go back to which is one of Tom Cruise's, I believe, like one of his best action movies, that just seems to get overlooked. So, and maybe it's because Oblivion came out around the same time. I'm not sure, but
I feel like they were very close. They were back, like almost back to back. I feel, or when I saw them at least, I feel like Edge of Tomorrow and that was like Oblivion, and like people said, like all the different titles. I think
All You Need Is Kill was the original title for the movie. Then they changed it to Live, Die, Repeat. Then they said they just call it Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh wait, so in North American theaters, it was called Live, Die, Repeat.
No. It was about to be called Live, Die, Repeat, and then they like, no. Let's call it Edge of Tomorrow. But on their Blu-rays and DVD box art, it had Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat. So they were like, we don't know what to do. And then, well, we've already, because we were hyping it up. I think there are posters out there that call it Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah. I think I remember seeing a lot of merchandise for it. Steve mentions the original manga, All You Need Is Kill, or Agame something Kill. I have read that manga, and it's actually pretty cool. It's got a different take on the monsters. I think Steve can jump in if he wants, but if you want to read that, you can install the Viz manga app, and you can read that for relatively cheap right now if you want to read manga on your phone. But yeah, sorry. Steve says rebranded it, Live, Die, Repeat. Yeah, to get more hype. But yeah, I think the title threw people off. Although Edge of Tomorrow is not a bad title, Rob, when you think about it, right?
Yeah, it's okay, right? It's not that bad.
Yeah, you're living on the edge of tomorrow. But I do own this on Blu-ray, so I'm gonna dust that off. Rob has already mentioned that it is available on Netflix. So hopefully you guys tune in next week for some sci-fi action. I feel like we don't hit a lot of sci-fi movies all the time, right?
I can't remember the last one we've done.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of stick to the action heroes, dudes doing real stuff, and now we're going into sci-fi. So
now we're going to Emily Blunt kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah, what's her called? Full Metal Bitch or something like that, or
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
something Queen or whatever. We're gonna find out next week. So tune in next week, folks. Again, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. So thank you very much, Rob. My daughter's going to do a little floss dance. Yeah, the flossing.
Hit the like and subscribe.
Yes, thank you. Hit the like and subscribe. Thank you.
And hit the thumbs up.
And thumbs up, yeah. And leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of Rogue Nation and how much you're looking forward to Dead Reckoning. So we will see you guys on the next one.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, peace out. Thank you very much, Mr. Rob. We'll check you later. And ow, Izzy. Thanks, everybody. Hit the